Chances are you once owned a pair of these. That's because Tom's had the perfect product. Its one-for-one donation model made buying one of its iconic canvas shoes an act of charity. And for a while, that really worked. By 2013, Tom's was reportedly making $250 million in sales a year and had donated 10 million pairs of shoes since its launch. Just 1 year later, the company was valued at $625 million.
It was a brand that resonated with a lot of especially younger people at the time that were looking for brands that were not sort of traditional corporate kind of brands.
Entrepreneur Blake Mycoskie started the company in 2006 because he wanted to give back. Yeah, Blake, not Tom. There was never actually a Tom behind Tom's Shoes. The company was originally named Shoes for Tomorrow, then Tomorrow's Shoes, and then shortened to Tom's. Mycoskie, who you might recognize from season 2 of The Amazing Race, was inspired to start the shoe company after a trip to Argentina. The story goes that Mycoskie wanted to help all the kids he saw without shoes. And while he was there, a shoe design caught his eye, the alpargata. Comfortable and affordable, the alpargata is an everyday shoe for many Argentinians. A local shoemaker helped make an updated version for Tom's and came up with the buy one, give one model. Soon, the shoe was everywhere.
It got some publicity and just grew very rapidly. It had a huge amount of demand at the beginning. Hollywood stars started wearing the shoes, and there's all this buzz around the shoe, and it grew into what it is today.
And Tom's slip-on canvas shoes became synonymous with the brand, turning into what marketing pros call a hero product.
A hero product is a product that is the archetypal brand, all right, for a company, the one that's the most successful that people think of when you think of the company. So, for example, like Nike, it could be Air Jordans. For Porsche, it might be the 911.
It's like how when you see Hermes, you think of the Birkin bag, or associate Heinz with ketchup. For Tom's, it was the original shoe, based on the alpargata. And paired with its charitable giving model, Tom's seemed unstoppable.
Tom's branding and marketing was very effective because it was one of the first companies that used this buy one, give one kind of philosophy to try to appeal to not only consumers that like good-looking shoes, but also were interested in companies that had some kind of corporate social responsibility angle.
People saw its logo and immediately thought of its shoes and its charity work for kids, which could explain why people were willing to spend anywhere from $48 to $78 on a pair of Tom's canvas shoes. But it turns out having a hero product can backfire.
The hero product for Tom's shoes is the alpargata variant or model of the shoes, and they relied on that one model too long. The hero product can become stale at some point if it's not rejuvenated.
Not to mention, Tom's slip-on shoe design was easy to copy, so competitors did. And they sold them for much cheaper. Skechers even named its version Bob's and donated 2 pairs of shoes for every pair sold. All this made consumers question whether Tom's was even worth the price. So just as quickly as it had become a staple, Tom's became a fad. Even though Tom's had expanded its product line, people just couldn't see beyond its original canvas shoe. And while Tom's shoe donation program had been innovative and interesting when it launched, it became almost mainstream, copied by so many other brands. People also started questioning whether Tom's shoe donations were actually helping anyone. Tom's had contacted an outside research team about looking into something back in 2010. The research team found that the program actually wasn't that significant.
Tom's was really quick to take the results of the study into consideration, so that they talked to us about giving away the shoes as a reward for school attendance, so kids actually feel like they earn them, and they began to develop more alternative kinds of shoes that would last longer.
And Tom's continued to grow its giving program to be more effective. In 2011, Tom's expanded its brand to include sunglasses. Sales from sunglasses went directly to people in developing countries for treatments like cataract surgery.
As a person who has pretty high prescription glasses, I can attest to the fact that personally, like a lot of people, that this is a really impactful intervention for many people. Cataract surgery can restore a life.
In 2014, Tom started Tom's Roasting Company and said it would donate a week's worth of clean water for every bag of coffee it sold. The next year, Tom's teamed up with anti-bullying organizations with a line of backpacks. But despite all these changes, when most people saw Tom's, they only thought of its original product and program. So Tom's had a hard time growing beyond its hero product, and its sales struggled. The company had a harder time regaining control over its business because it had relied so much on wholesale when it first started out. Doing this had helped Tom's build its brand recognition even faster because its shoes were sold at big department stores like Macy's and Bloomingdale's and even at Whole Foods. But a direct-to-consumer model has a lot of long-term advantages. You have more control over your marketing and inventory, and most importantly, over prices. All this can help you control your profit margins, something that's kind of important when your sales are starting to slump. But instead, Tom's didn't pivot its business model as quickly or strongly as it should have, and its outlook continued to decline in 2019. Tom's had a $300 million loan due in 2020, and credit rating agencies expected it wouldn't be able to pay up. So, is this the end for Tom's? Well, in late 2019, a group of Tom's creditors officially took over the company from Bain Capital and Blake Mycoskie in exchange for debt relief. When Business Insider reached out to Tom's, a representative said that, quote, "The new owners support Tom's future growth and are investing $35 million into the company," unquote. So Tom's is definitely looking to rebuild itself. But is there a place for it?
Tom's biggest obstacle right now is just the fact that there is so much competition in the shoe business, and some brands have in fact gone bankrupt. I mean, if you look at brands like Rockport, right, which is a well-known brand, take a look at Payless Shoes, which is a retailer. There's just a lot of competition in this market, and very difficult to make a sustainable business.
So what should Tom's do?
I think the smartest strategy for Tom's right now actually is to focus less on the corporate social responsibility angle and focus more on product. I think they need to develop more product varieties, styles, colors that consumers want to buy, and I think that's the area they should focus on.
Another thing Tom's needs to work on is its brand experience.
A lot of successful brands that started as direct-to-consumer, like Warby Parker, like a Casper, like others, Bonobos, for example, started only direct-to-consumer, went to retail, gave their customers a chance to, again, experience the brand. And today, brand experience is extremely important for consumers to have a strong affinity to the brand. I think Tom's has to do more of that.
But even if Tom's isn't able to recreate its original success, it still made a lasting impact in the worlds of business and fashion. Brands having a social mission might be commonplace today, but Tom's was the one that made it mainstream. And despite everything, Tom's might still be the best at it.
I'd say Tom's is one of the most nimble organizations that I've worked with as a development economist. They have a whole department that's devoted to impact evaluation.
In November 2019, Tom's announced that it would be evolving its one-for-one giving model. Tom's will now be donating $1 for every $3 it makes. According to the company, this creates a more flexible and sustainable way of giving.
So I think Tom's is a learning organization, and when it comes to development and poverty interventions, trust me, we're all learning, and that's the key.
So who knows? With the right product, Tom's could be the next big thing again.